Hi everyone, I'm Joel Baird, the General Manager of Missoula Community Access Television, inviting you to this, our second episode of Missoula Live for the year of our Lord 2018.
And for some of us, it's our first episode.
Yes.
Since I was a bad board member and co-host. I'm Kim Anderson. I'm the Director of Programs and Grants at Humanities Montana and a board member of MCAT.
And Kim has been my co-host now for, is it 5 years?
I think it's 5 years.
We think it's 5 years, and she's a volunteer.
We're old and we forget.
That's right.
So it could, who knows how
true.
long it's been.
Well, we have a full show for you today, a number of guests from a number of areas around town. And typically I wanted to give you an idea of what's going on at MCAT. And there are a number of programs I want you to be aware of. And the foremost is that Saturday Animation Drop-In is back. And if you have kids around the age of 9 to 13, you're more than welcome to bring them here or cause them to be brought here for 4 hours. It's only a $10 fee to defray some of our expenses, and the kids can learn some computer skills, storytelling skills, stop animation, and so on. And further, we need more public producers at MCAT.
Right.
Sometimes the well runs dry. MCAT is a drop-in facility, and one of the things we offer to people is equipment, training, and channel time for anyone that wants to make a program to share with the rest of Missoula. So one of the easiest ways to find out what that opportunity can mean for you is to drop into MCAT every Wednesday at 5:30. We could give you a tour and a little inventory of the services and equipment that we loan out. So it is out there to you, dear viewer. If you have an idea for a show, if you'd like to have a talk show like this one, we have a studio. We've got lights, apparently. We have editing equipment and cameras that you can check out Tuesday through Friday and Friday through Tuesday. You can learn all about this every Wednesday at 5:30. And if the time doesn't work for you, just give us a call at 542-6228 and we'll arrange a private tour.
Oh, you're so accommodating.
Right. And then I'm going to turn over to you for Humanities Montana, though we had a little clip of the fake news.
Oh, good, because the only thing I have to say is I wanted to thank MCAT.
Oh, that's so kind.
We held a community conversation a few nights ago, and at Imagination Brewery, which is a nonprofit, so it's okay to say their name. And we live streamed it on Facebook, on your Facebook site and our Facebook site. We got live questions in real time.
People wrote their comments.
And it was a good thing because it was standing room only in Imagination Brewery. Over 200 people were in there. And so we were taking, questions and comments from the audience, and then we had one of my associates was sitting there on her laptop, and she'd hand me a piece of paper and say, here's another question, and it was just, it worked seamlessly. And
you had a great panel. Kathy Best from Missoulian, William Marcus, retired from Montana Public Radio and Television.
Right. Dennis Swybold, who's a professor of journalism at the university.
And the librarian was very interesting.
Jackie Wilkinson, who does media literacy workshops.
I would like her to come here maybe and talk about recording some or, something.
Oh, good idea.
To broaden, because she had a wonderful scope of knowledge. So that's why we have a little clip to show you at home, dear viewer, of that event, and then to remind people that are putting together events. MCAT has a media assistance grants program that allows 12 hours of staff time to record an event that will run on the channel that's non-commercial in nature, and streaming costs just because we have to pay the piper.
Right,
but
it's not much money. What is it, $75?
$50 an hour.
Right.
So it'd be $100 for 2 hours.
And we had so much. It made a big impact.
And it will also be archived on Facebook, so people can watch it if they didn't get to show. So maybe, Scott, you could show a little bit of the clip, and then we'll get to our first guest.
Thank you, Fernanda. I really want to thank Fernanda and Robert for being, Imagination is an amazing addition to our community. It's a place where people come to meet friends, they come to talk about important issues, and they've been a great partner with us, and we're very grateful to be able to use this warm, inviting space. So thank you for all the accommodations you make us, Fernanda and Robert. My name is Kim Anderson. I'm the Director of Programs and Grants for Humanities Montana. Humanities Montana is a statewide nonprofit that holds conversations and programs like these all over the state, in schools, libraries.
Maybe he's on break. Oh, no, we're back.
We thought we'd have to listen to me forever.
Well, I could do it. Well, we're going to welcome Tom Benson from Arts Missoula. Welcome.
Well,
thank you.
Hi,
Thank you.
Tom.
How are you all?
Good.
Well, you'd heard about my illness Saturday.
Yeah, right.
People at home would like to hear about it, but we haven't time.
And you survived first night.
Right.
You were standing.
First night came and went. New Year's Eve was celebrated by all. Yeah, thank you. It's always fun to put on.
How many first nights is this for you?
For me, it's I think 21.
Wow, congratulations.
For Missoula, it's 24. So next year it'll be the 25th. Yeah.
Wow, that is amazing. I know at the Crystal Theater I had spent 11 consecutive New Year's Eves cleaning the theater after first night. So I was a little glad for a break, but there was some wonderful programming.
Oh, yeah.
In those 11 years, some of
yeah.
which we put on in the Crystal, and a lot were visiting artists.
Right.
Yeah.
But there's a new program coming up that I invited you to come and talk about.
Yeah, our next our next event is our annual awards lunch, which takes place on March 22nd, where we honor individuals and businesses and organizations for their contributions to Missoula's arts and cultural scene. It's kind of like a lifetime achievement kind of thing for a lot of people.
That's how I felt about mine.
Yeah, and both of you received an award. So this is the Mutual Admiration Society going on here. It's what we're doing right now is we're looking for nominations. Which are due in the 1st of February, so that we can then make some selections and notify the folks and all that. So,
and Scott's showing he was showing the people at home the webpage.
Right.
So is that one way people
So if you go to artsmissoula.org and the homepage actually scrolls to the awards lunch at some point, and you can just click on that. And so we look for people who, we have various categories. One of them is individual artists. Obviously, we're an arts organization. So artists that have contributed greatly to the Missoula community over the years. Last year was Chuck Florence, the great sax player, and Kendall Jan Jubb the year before that, a local artist in town. And we also honor educators. And so last year was Karen Callan. She was teaching in the schools, teaching music in the schools for a long time. Karen Kaufman won it at the University of Montana. We also honor what we call cultural vision, people who have a great vision. I believe that was both of your awards.
I think we were visionaries.
You were visionaries. Last year was the Roxy Theater and all that they've come up. And we also honor businesses that have contributed to the arts over the years, and there are lots of great businesses in this town that are very supportive of the arts. And then we have cultural achievement, and that's sort of a catch-all. That can be a donor, that can be a supporter, can be an administrator. Steve Glukert was our last year's recipient, retiring from the MAM, and William Marcus. You mentioned William. Right. He was a recipient of it. Pat Williams for saving the NEA many years ago. He's
just
one of
one
our
small tiny thing Pat did. Yeah.
So Missoula is blessed with a lot of very creative people and a lot of very supportive people in businesses, and this is our chance to honor them and to kind of tell the community what we've been doing over the past year and how Missoula has done as well. So.
And the luncheon event itself is always, I've been going for years. So
I went when I got my award. I was scared, but I really appreciated it.
Yes, it's very moving to be a recipient, but it's also, every year I go, it's just so heartwarming to see. First of all, it's a full room of people there to celebrate their comrades in the arts.
Right.
And you realize how deep the field is in Missoula.
Yeah.
How,
there's
just so many.
Oh, the place was packed.
And there's usually some entertainment as well. And
a good keynote speech.
Yeah.
No, it's
and
a lot
I won
of fun.
the raffle too.
You won.
That's right.
I was in dread of having go in front of all these people and such, and I thought, I'll try this raffle thing, and I won.
I remember.
Yeah.
Good for you.
I
Never
really
won. Big day.
It was a
Big day.
winning day.
Yeah.
Never ever won the raffle.
And then the people that may be watching, they should just nominate. Is the process arduous for the nomination? Do you have to write an essay backing up?
You have to write
just say the
something.
name.
You have to. Yeah, you say the name and who you are and how we can get in touch with you and what. Yeah, you have to write
Right.
small essay about who this person is or this business and why you think they are deserving. Yeah.
And then do you accept letters of support as
Sure.
well?
Yeah, letters of support, and then and then we sit down and evaluate, and then as the Arts Missoula board will decide on the eventual winners for this year.
Yeah. So I think that's great for people
Yeah.
watching that. If they think of someone like I didn't expect to be nominated at all, and I was so pleased.
There you go.
So I think for people that are working hard, it's a great boost to
Yeah.
them.
Oh yeah.
So that if people are watching and they think, well, I wonder if anyone ever thought of so and so.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
think, oh, it's a long shot or whatever it is. I think they should just try.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's an easy process. So,
Yeah. Well, any other questions for Tom? I don't want to keep him.
I don't think so. So the dates again. Give us the
Sure.
dates. Oh, and
Yeah.
tell us about buying tickets to go to the lunch.
Oh well,
okay,
yeah. They're not available. Tickets aren't available yet,
Yeah.
but the lunch is March 22nd, which is a long way away.
Oh, wow.
We're still in January. So, but the nominations are due February 1st, which is coming right up in
Yeah.
a week or 10 days.
That
So,
took me a little by surprise.
Right.
I've got to
Right.
get cracking.
yeah. So that's it. February 1st for the nominations, March 22nd for the lunch itself.
All right, well, start thinking hard about a deserving artist or art supporter in your life and give them the recognition they deserve through Arts Missoula.
Thank you very
Yeah.
much. Yeah.
You won't be sorry you did. And we'll be right back with some news about an evolving event that has a new name this year. And Lisa and Rebecca are here to tell us all about it right after this. All right, so you guys saw that Scott made that with the help of some high school students that are at MCAT. That's just reinforcing the idea every Saturday, 1 to 5, 4 hours of stop animation.
That was very cute.
Yeah, so some of our dear viewers may remember an annual event called Project Homeless. And Lisa and Rebecca are here to talk about the evolution of the event, which is now called Project Community Connect.
It is.
All right.
Yeah, so this is our first year with name change to Project Community Connect. This is the 12th year that we've hosted this event in Missoula, and it's a national event. It's not unique to Missoula. But the name change came from, the purpose of the event is to provide critical services to our community members in need. And we wanted to make sure that people understood that this is a community event.
Yeah.
You don't have to be literally homeless to access these services. It's for people in need. And there'll be over 100 service providers at this event, providing anything from haircuts to dental care to pet vaccinations, food, employment, housing. I mean, I could go on and on and on. But it's a great event, and it's grown over the years, and we have a lot of fun.
Yeah. And Rebecca, you've been with it a long time. Somebody wrote and said she has the institutional history.
12 years. I've been lucky enough to help
plan every one of the events.
Wow.
To see it evolve from First Baptist Church to First Methodist or United Methodist Church, expand to the library, expand to the Children's Museum. It's just overflown or overgrown. But we are really grateful to have it this year at Zootown Church.
Oh, great.
It's been, they've been very accommodating, and just to be under one roof really does make a difference.
Sure.
Yeah, before it was so large, you
I
know,
know.
they have United Methodist, and then across the street, the library, and then
Right.
kitty corner to MCT, so that is wonderful. Now, where would people go to the Zootown Church? I mean, the street address.
I have that for you.
Oh, good. We should have rehearsed that question.
I know.
I promised
It's on-
them I wouldn't ask any questions like they didn't really answer.
It's on Brook Street, behind Paradise Falls.
Yes, 3623 Brook Street.
Okay.
Behind Paradise Falls.
Right. It's like where Vans
Used
Used
to
to
be.
be.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Okay. For old Missoulians. It's like, it's the old
Oh
Vans
my
building.
gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just all done. And
So
also,
it's a huge facility.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, that's terrific.
that's wonderful.
Basically
And will the
taking
zero
over.
fare
Yeah.
bus take people there from downtown if need be?
Yeah, it won't go directly to Zootown Church. I think the closest bus stop is the mall. But I believe we have a shuttle that'll meet people at the mall and shuttle
Oh,
people
that's
over.
really good.
That's a
Okay.
great idea.
People can ask the Pavarello Center about more information about that. They're kind of arranging the shuttle to get
Right,
over there.
right.
So,
Great.
And then
Yeah.
people who don't know about it, we could expand a little bit. I mean, there's so many services for people that are either homeless or, as you've been inspired to change the name, in danger of homelessness, right?
Right.
It's like people that are on fixed incomes that may be battling like a health emergency or a family member's emergency where they've loaned. I mean, how many times do we read in the newspaper, X percentage, a majority of Americans are like $1,200 away from a crisis
Yeah.
of some sort, you know? So that people that may be watching the show and they're kind of just scared to make the rent, or, you know, they kind of live in a sense of like, if something went wrong, where is my safety net? So this event is a good way for people to kind of check the springs on the safety net, right?
Yeah.
And they're more than welcome to come. You don't have to prove that your income is terribly low at the door. There's no
vetting process. They can just come in. And, you know, while we're here, we want to share that it is open to anyone that's in need. So we were thinking that if someone might have a family member or they might know a friend that could possibly utilize some help with even getting an ID, and that's
Yeah.
a barrier
yeah.
to, you know, maintaining sustainability. They're just, you know, that's another resource. You would learn so much about the different services that are offered in Missoula by coming to this, and that's what a lot of volunteers have mentioned in the past, that they didn't realize that there were these services and they knew people. So it not only helps those that need the services, but it's also a great opportunity for volunteers to expand on what they know about Missoula.
Absolutely. Now, it must be a massive volunteer effort. Do each of the organizations that participate provide their own people, whether they're volunteers or?
Some organizations do, and then we have a volunteer coordinator through the event planning committee that gets general volunteers together.
Wow.
I think we have over 300 general volunteers that come and attend the event. And then each agency that is maybe coordinating a service area. I mean, we're from Missoula Housing Authority, and we're coordinating 3 service areas. And so we have staff that are going to volunteer at these service areas as well.
And
So
you've
there's
got a lot of pet food that will be available on the day. for
Yeah,
giveaway.
I coordinate the pet services area, and I right now have over 1,000 pounds of dog and cat food to give out
Wow.
to people in need. We'll have a veterinarian there providing rabies vaccinations and nail clips if their pets need it, and then, you know, toys, leashes, all sorts of stuff for people's animals.
That's really
fun.
great.
Yeah.
And then do you want to list just like offhand a few services that people might need that will be available that day?
Yeah. Do you want to?
Eyeglasses, reading glasses, dental care. They'll get screenings. They have haircuts, basic things. Obtain some food, clothing, pet services. We have housing and employment, and that's those are the two service areas that I help.
Oh, and there's going to be a job fair this year.
And that's right. This is brand new.
Yeah, brand new.
Brand new. The first time we're expanding on what employment services offers. We're going to expand to resume support, which is huge. And then also we've invited employers for free to come if they have positions opened. We have people in need. So.
Oh, I think that's wonderful. Isn't that a great
that's a great
evolution of
partnership.
it?
Because we're hearing a lot lately that in certain sectors, people are having a hard time finding employees.
Yep.
And then you always hear from people who are having a hard time finding a job. That so to serve as a meeting place and to give some coaching and help in the resume front and all of that is.
Right.
Oh, I think it's
Absolutely.
wonderful. I really do.
Yeah.
We should let them go pretty soon because I heard the doorbell. That means like, oh, another guest. But just to recap, it's coming up pretty soon.
Right.
Some people you may be watching the show and already happened. So in that case, I think people should call 211, that referral service.
Yeah.
That would reconnect them with a housing authority, whatever they would need.
Exactly.
But it's coming up. Today is the 22nd of January.
Yeah.
The event is on.
Friday, January 26th. It's
Right.
from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. At Zootown Church. Again, just show up.
Yeah.
And we really want to thank all the organizations and community members that come out and help with the event, that's helped plan it, that will be there helping people through the event. I mean, there's so many of us that come together. It's a great feat.
This has to be one of the largest nonprofit coordinating events of the year.
Probably.
It's really impressive.
With 300 volunteers mobilized on a one day.
Yeah.
So that is really wonderful. Thank you so much
Thank
for putting
you
it
for doing
together.
it.
Yeah, and then for forbearing to be on the show. We're like nervous. We want to do it.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
And next year, see, it'll be easier. You'll be like, oh,
Right.
hands up, Tom.
Right.
You're like, whatever, I gotta go. So we gotta go because we have more guests in the wings. I think Dylan Wright is here from Missoula Children's
Right.
Community, excuse me.
And
Theater. Meredith, too. She's going to let Dylan go because he has to go to a meeting. And he's here to talk about the musical Happy Days.
Yes.
So if you can't wait, go grab a snack, and we'll be right back after this.
Ranchers are the stewards of Montana's great grasslands and wetlands. Ducks Unlimited works with ranchers on conservation programs to improve cattle production and wildlife habitat. Montana is the nation's third largest waterfowl producer. Ducks Unlimited promotes working lands programs that help keep ranchers on the land while improving habitat for wildlife and Montana's outdoors people. To learn more about conservation and Ducks Unlimited, visit www.ducks.org/Montana.
Hey, let's check out this park. Oh, wow, that's really cool. To find a great local park or forest near you, go to discovertheforest.org.
Hey, how's it going over? Oh, have a good day. Oh, I didn't see you over there. What a nice day to be out and about today. But I want to tell you something about what's going on here. Hold on a second. Let me just adjust this. Okay, there you go. Let me talk about MCAT. MCAT is doing Saturday drop-ins starting every Saturday this fall, winter, and spring season from 1 to 5 p.m. Let's go check it out. Come on. MCAT is a great way to create. All you got to do is come on down to our location at 500 North Higgins. It's as easy as that. See you there.
Oh, we're back. So that, again, is a reminder about Lego Saturday.
I just think those are the cutest
sky's the
little
limit, isn't
commercials.
it? Yeah,
Right.
no, Scott did it. He's very clever.
Yeah.
So, Meredith Printz, thank you so much for coming by.
Hi.
Meredith works for the Missoula Community Foundation, and I was inspired to ask her to be on the show because MCF, as is affectionately known, is having a presentation on how to leave a legacy, legacy planning, caring for your family and community. So I thought we could talk about that, and there's a teeny bit of time because I know Dylan has to go back to his meeting. We could talk about the new tax law from MCF's perspective. So.
All right.
So what is this workshop? When is it? Where is it?
Yes, coming up on Wednesday, we have invited Dr. Marcia Getting from MSU Extension. Sorry, she's from MSU, but she's still fantastic. Yeah. She travels all around the state trying to get Montanans ready to make their legacy plans. And so she will be here for 2 sessions on Wednesday. The first one is at 11 at the Missoula Public Library. And then the second one is at 4 p.m. at the Missoula Senior Center. And these are free and open to the public. They'll be about 2 hours long. They're interactive and interesting presentations, which with legacy planning you might not think that they are, but they really are. So interesting, informative, and important. And we hope that everyone will attend.
And these are focused on, these are for individuals thinking about their own will or estate and what they're going to do, rather than organizations. Because sometimes I've gone to events for other nonprofits who need to know how to talk to people about leaving a legacy.
Yeah, this is focused on individuals. Certainly people from organizations would be very much welcome and encouraged to come because it would help them talk to their donors more effectively.
But I mean,
it's for everybody.
Yeah, I think everyone needs to think about that.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
You know that people like development directors of nonprofits and so on, outreach people, they could learn a lot about the benefits that they could pass along to potential donors to their organization.
Yeah, and just one thing I wanted to call out is that 70% of Montanans don't have a will. So there's a real need for this education out there. If you don't have a will, you may not like where your money goes. So that's part of what Marcia will be talking about is if you don't leave a will, what will happen to your assets, and it might surprise you.
Right.
That, like the state could take stuff and say, well, it's not designated.
Well, they will say where the money will go. Oftentimes it's to your family members, but you may not like the way it's divided.
Right.
And we've got a lot of complicated families these days.
Yeah,
and
well, that's true.
yeah, we need to make
right.
some complicated plans, but also if you don't have a will, then you're not leaving money to charity. And so what I like to think about is think about the charities that you give to, and throughout the years. And once you pass away, sadly, if you don't have a will and if you haven't left money to those charities, then those charities don't have that money anymore.
Right.
So
that's right. Like you say, every year I give to this, that, and the other, and then
one year it'll just stop if you don't account for it. And
that's right.
I think another misconception is that a lot of people, and I am this way as well, kind of think, I'm not a millionaire. I don't need to think about this. I don't have enough for it to matter.
Yeah, legacy seems like it's very upper class.
Right.
So when you get a legacy, it's for people of means.
Yeah.
But it's not the case.
No, you don't have to have a lot of money. You can. There are assets that you might have. I was talking to a donor the other day who has a coin collection, and she's leaving her coin collection to the community foundation, and
nice.
that's got value.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, and people don't realize, I think, when you get to think about retirement, that there's always, for the middle classes, a cushion of money we want to have.
Right.
And so that even in the most humble of middle class assets, it's actually often in the hundreds and thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
And maybe it doesn't all have to go to nieces and nephews and and so on.
Yeah.
So that people could think, wow, if I'm really dispersing $200,000 to $500,000, maybe there is a charity in there that would give meaning, and pleasure to the person knowing they would be the recipient.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and you can set up your family, friends, whoever you want to leave money to, assets to, and you could leave a remainder to charity, to the community foundation or other charities that you would like to give to. So it doesn't even have to be a certain amount. It could be a percentage or a remainder. Just make sure that your family and everybody's taken care of that you want to take care of, and then you know,
there you
with
go. It's like
whatever's left
rounding
over.
up change and so on.
Exactly.
But, you know, in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, you know, a lot of people, they think, well, it would be nice to have a legacy. I think a lot of people get sad thinking, you know, their life ends with their existence. Isn't there some way to sort of carry on? Seems to be a motivation for a lot of reproduction. Human, I mean.
Exactly.
And, so there's other ways to carry on as well besides the children. Well, I think this is pretty clear. I mean, we're trying to make a case for people to go. Only 2 days, dear viewer, from the initial cable cast of this program. And let's say you've missed it since the show goes on. Our
Right.
show will be renewed on February 5th. How about they can contact Missoula Community Foundation
Yep.
on the website, for
Yep.
instance?
MissoulaCommunityFoundation.org.
Yeah,
Or you can give us a call,
yeah.
926-2846, and we will hook you up with some resources. Absolutely.
Yeah, you guys are great about always being there for information or to answer questions. Yeah.
And there's
all
two
these
places, you know, to exploit the presentation. Either go to the library at 11, or if you want a more intimate setting, I don't know, 5 to 6 at the Senior Center.
Right.
4 to 6, sorry.
I'm sorry, yeah, 4 to 6 at the Senior Center. So we have a teeny bit of time because I had written to Meredith saying it would be nice to promote this event, and that she's done so much homework on the new tax
Yeah.
law and what it might mean for charitable giving. And do you want to just go over that a teeny bit?
Sure. Yeah, so it's kind of confusing, this new tax law.
Yeah.
What does it mean
I'm scrambling.
for givers? What does it mean for charities? Well, I've got some notes here. So the
Yeah.
good, you know, most people give to charity because they're generous, because they want to give back to their community, and not because of tax benefits. So, you know, we won't be able to, in our nonprofit messaging, maybe lean on those tax benefits quite as much as we have in the past, but we just have to make a closer connection with our donors, which, you know, that's
Now,
okay.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but does that mean the new tax law nullifies the tax deductible component of charitable giving?
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
What it does is it doubles the standard deduction. So now for a couple, it's $24,000, where it used to be $12,000. And so now it takes away the incentive from a lot of people to itemize.
That's it. That's
So
what I
now-
had
You only
read.
get that deduction if you itemize.
If you itemize and
Right.
they say, oh, why should I go through the trouble?
Right.
You know, I already have
Right.
this. And so in turn, they think it might be a negative effect on charitable
Right.
giving.
But I
Yes.
can say I had a board meeting this past weekend, and for Humanities Montana, and we had a nationally known development consultant meeting with us at the meeting, and he was not that concerned, and his point was what you said. His first point was that nobody donates because they're going to get a write-off.
Yeah, that's really true.
Yeah, but people donate
They
more
might donate more
because of the incentive, and so I want to make sure that I get my stats here.
Yeah.
So according to professor of economics at Indiana University's Lilly Family School of Philanthropy, which is kind of like
huge,
the
yeah.
gold
It
standard.
really is.
Right.
So they estimate, let's see, roughly 30 million households making between 50,000 and 100,000 will be less likely to itemize their
Right.
deductions. And they estimate that this change will reduce charitable giving by up to $20 billion a year.
That's when you add it
So-
up.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, it could happen. It doesn't have to happen. They just estimate that because the incentive is being diminished for those middle income households. But people that are making, you know, the higher level donors, they're going to have more money to give. So, you know, we'll probably be looking at more money coming from those higher dollar donors who have more to give. So we will probably want to focus more on those folks that do have more. Also, some businesses will be getting a windfall from the tax bill, so we may want to check in with our corporate friends and see how that bill might be affecting their charitable
Good
giving to
point.
see if it might increase. Yeah, and
you just have
essentially,
to get in the spray of the trickle down. You can see what's there.
yeah, exactly. I mean, individual nonprofits can do a really good job of connecting with the donors that they currently have. Make sure that, you know, you're drawing them close. You show them how much you love them. Try to be among people's favorite nonprofits.
just keep doing the good work that you're doing. And we just hope we'll just have to work a little bit harder for the dollars, but we know people are very generous. As I mentioned earlier, people give because they want to, they give because they think they're going to make a difference. So we just need to make a really good case to those folks.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think, most of us who are on this show or work in these areas are approach this from a nonprofit organization viewpoint. But this is just another reason why it's so important as an individual to go to a workshop like you're giving this week, because each of us can make a difference, and leaving some sort of a thoughtful legacy is one way to further the work that you believe in even after you're gone.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Lighting a candle in the current dark, as it were. Really true. And I don't want to keep you, but you do have a little bit more material. I'm just worried about Dylan getting back to his meeting.
Yeah.
So do you think it's enough? Do you want to talk a teeny bit more?
Well, I guess I will say that people can still donate appreciated stocks and securities.
That's interesting.
And avoid capital gains tax. So that's something that is still available. Folks may want to start a donor-advised fund if you're having a really good year this year. You can start a donor-advised fund. You can put your assets into a fund, and then you can donate from that year after year. So that's a nice.
What's called a donor-advised fund.
Yep, it's kind of like setting up your own little foundation.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, you put a chunk of money in there.
You have a windfall in a particular year, so you put it all in the donor-advised fund. It's not dispersed in that year necessarily, but it's held sort of in escrow, and then you can decide how to give it charitably in a series of years or something.
Exactly. And there's one other thing too, that so in 2017 people were able to deduct 50% of their adjusted gross income, and this year they can deduct 60% of their adjusted gross income. So if you are itemizing your taxes, you can benefit even more than you benefited last year. Wow. So that is a bright spot that I didn't want to forget.
I wonder how many people would donate 60% of their income. Well, I guess if you have a large enough one, you would. That's it. Well, Meredith, thank you so much. This is really fascinating, and I'll just point out to people at home that Meredith took the time to write out all this stuff. And further, though, it suggests how fascinating, if you're into this kind of thing, tax talk can be. And if you're not, I'm sure the presentation is going to be to the point. There's time for question and answers. And at the library meeting on Wednesday, that's 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., you can bring your lunch, and dessert and beverages will be included. So if you don't have time or feel like you don't have time, you can incorporate a whole meal into it. And the 4 to 6 p.m. at Missoula Senior Center, snacks and beverages included too.
Right.
So no such thing as a free lunch, but there could be some perks.
I make cookies.
See?
That's right.
Well, Meredith, thanks so much for taking the time.
Thank you.
Today.
I hope you have a good turnout.
Thank you.
And I hope all the nonprofits have a good year.
Yeah.
Like, we won't know, I guess. The scary thing is the uncertainty, too.
Always. Yeah,
like I itemize, and I know just down the street in my accountant's stores that like everyone's banging, like, what's going on? What's going on? Everyone's like, we don't know what's going on. And the government's shut down for part, so.
No, it's back up.
Yeah, I heard that too. But it's just an era of uncertainty. So I'm so glad you said that thing about keeping the personal faith, to just continue sharing. It's not going to kill us. So we'll have a lighter note for the next segment. Dylan Wright is here from the Missoula Community Theater to talk about that musical, I Swear to God, next segment. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for
Today, our title of presentation is Wildflower Reflections, Families, Legacies, and Estate Planning. My name is Marcia Getting, and I'm a family economics specialist with Montana State University Extension. And one of my roles is to take the university to the people, and that's what we do as a land-grant institution through Extension. So I travel throughout the state doing estate planning programs, financial management, whatever it is that that particular community wants me to do. Extension reaches 53 out of our 56 counties, but we actually service all, as well as our 7 reservations. So I'm delighted to provide some opportunity for you to learn more about estate planning. And I would like to express appreciation to the Missoula Aging Services Office, because they are the ones that invited me to do this program. AARP Montana has also been involved and very supportive. And we have the Montana Geriatric Center that's at the University of Montana. We have also the Missoula County Extension Office, but also other county extension offices that are across the state. And as I was preparing for this program, one of the people by the name of Jordan Lyons from that particular office once said, "You've got to make your presentation exciting. It can't be boring. Don't be depressing," which is always a challenge when you're talking about estate planning. And then, of course, don't put people to sleep. So that's what I'm going to do by trying some different methods. And I used response clickers, but we're not able to do that today because we are on TV. So what we're going to do is have multiple choice questions as we go along. And I think you'll see.
And we're back with Dylan Wright. Dylan, welcome. Thanks for taking the time to visit us about this new show at the Missoula Community Theater. I understand it's a musical based on Happy Days, but that's all I know.
Yeah, that's about what I know too.
Oh yeah, but you're in it, right, or something?
I am. I'm playing Howard Cunningham.
Okay, so for goodness sake.
Yeah, it's a ton of fun. It's one of those shows that is just silly. There's just it's you go in and going in hopefully to just really be able to relax, be entertained, and not have to think too hard about it.
Right.
Right.
And that's supposed to be the 50s, though I think that was a lie. Because people always show the 50s in this light, like everybody's chain smoking and drinking gin and tonics at lunch and having mindless barbecues. And the more one is a student of history, when you think of like this generation that had gone through the Depression and then another friggin' World War, I would get home and I would just be like, yeah. The thing is like all carefree. It's like reaction to massive trauma.
Well, probably.
Everyone was exploiting. Nuclear holocaust was right around the corner. So let them sing. And let them dance, I say.
Exactly.
Mindlessly. I think there's time for that.
And I'm sure there's not a person on this planet who doesn't recognize the Happy Days song.
Right.
And have some cognate with the Fonz or Richie or whatever. I mean, it's got to be one of the most pervasive sitcoms that ever aired on television.
Yeah. I like the dad a lot. I really did. I thought that guy was great.
Fun role.
Oh, it is a fun role. I mean, it's funny because we had an interesting moment in the beginning because the woman Erin Tooley, who was cast as Marion, Howard's wife, and she looked at me at one point early on and she said, "You realize we just got cast as the old couple in the show, don't you?" Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
There are kids on this stage.
And we are. I'm pretty sure that everybody in the cast looks to us as the parents in the cast.
I hope you're setting a good example.
Well, we're doing our best, but.
And the show is light, it's bright, it's colorful, and you're saying it's upbeat. There's not a tragic ounce. This is unalloyed ecstasy.
I mean, well, every good show has some conflict, right? Okay. So there's definitely there's no jumping sharks or anything like that. We're not jumping any sharks in this show, but we allude to it.
That's pretty good.
And definitely, so this episode takes place when Pinky Tuscadero, who is Fonz's old squeeze, right? She comes back into town because really what's happened is that Arnold's, right? Remember that Arnold's was the diner. Arnold's is getting shut down. Okay. And so the whole story is how are we going to save Arnold's, right? And so Pinky's coming back into town, and of course that's going to create some turmoil between her and the Fonz because they were an item, right, back in the day. And so there's that conflict. There's the conflict of Arnold's getting shut down. There's a couple other little side things that are going on between the boys that are the kind of the gang, the Richie and his friends, and so it's kind of fun watching all these different stories, and it's almost like 2 episodes packed into one. We joked about putting a to be continued at the intermission,
Right.
In case we want an encore and stuff. It's a pretty large cast with live music for the musical.
It's there's about 25 actors in the cast, and then the orchestra, off the top of my head, I'd say is about 10 piece. And the cool thing about it is they are actually up on the bandstand.
They're not in the
show.
pit. They're like a part of the show.
Yeah. So and their name, of course, is Jump and the Sharks. And so their music, I mean, it's always live, but you can actually see it, right? You can see it happening right there. They kind of represent the jukebox. We have a jukebox that sits in front of them, and so they are that jukebox, and the nice thing about it too is that because they're not in the pit, they're really not mic'd that much, so it's very real,
It
it's
uses
not
the natural acoustics of the theater space.
Exactly. So that's a lot of fun, and they're all dressed in period clothing as well. So they really are a part of the team. And then you've also got our tech members, our crew, the backstage crew. They're all dressed appropriately as well. Oh, wow. So you would never know really between who's crew and who's actors and who's orchestra. I mean, other than people playing the instruments.
Well, right. Oh, this could be a really great show. I think I've mentioned on this show once before that there was a psychological experiment conducted when people that were young in their limerent romantic phase, say 18 to 30 in the 50s, were put in a 50s environment, like their whole home went mid-century modern. They felt incredibly younger. And they dropped a lot of physical complaints, and they exercised more.
Well, is that true of the parents in the show? Because I've been feeling fairly achy since,
You might need a 30s.
Well, no, he's too young. He needs to go to the 60s or 70s.
Well, he probably needs the early 90s, for God's sake. But anyway, we want to recommend it to people to take in. So when does the show run?
So we have already completed our first week of runs. We have one more week, and the tickets are pretty hot. So get them quick. It runs through the 28th, Sunday the 28th.
Okay.
So
it is really coming up.
Yeah, so we have a show Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights, all at 7:30, and then we have a Saturday matinee as well at 2:00, and then we have a Sunday matinee at 2 and a Sunday evening performance at 6:30.
Yeah.
So
there's 2 matinees in the offing, and people are like, well, it's a little steep. 7 to 8 play is the number for the tickets.
Yes, and there's also opportunities. I'm also the volunteer coordinator at MCT.
So tell us a little bit how. And I know you got to get back for a 5:00 meeting. The time now 4:47.
Oh, okay,
so you got 8-minute travel time. You got like 5 minutes for that.
Well, so there are definite volunteer opportunities. I'm not sure how full they are as far as ushers and front of house. So
but ushers watch the show for free.
Ushers get to watch the show. Front of house is concessions or will call. And so if anybody's interested in that, they should go on our website, fill out a volunteer form. Yep, and we can get that processed pretty quickly. And then there's also it's amazing how people don't know everything that is going on at MCT. That's my life, so I feel like, doesn't everybody know?
Right. I mean, because it's always a very long list of stuff that's happening all at the same time.
From the community theater to camps to tours across the country. We've had teams recently that have just come back from Indonesia and India. It's amazing. And so volunteering your time there and stuff, you can learn all about it. But I'm also happy to give tours to people. If anybody's interested in coming, it takes about 45 minutes. You learn just about everything you need to know there.
It would be fun to get a tour.
Well, we've been talking about Out and About, my tour show that I do for interesting nonprofits.
Right.
And so I think something this spring might come together.
Oh, excellent. Yeah.
But that's a great idea, and I'll throw it again out to people watching that. If they say, well, I can't pay $45 a ticket, $35, whatever it is, by being a volunteer, working front of house, working at usher, and so on, you get to get part of this excitement and see the shows for free.
Absolutely. You're not only helping the theater, but you get to come and watch the show too. So it's a great way to be involved. So highly encourage it.
Rubs chin thoughtfully.
Well, as always, MCT has been such a great addition to this community for so many years.
It's so startlingly successful.
Yeah.
Internationally.
And it's always fun to hear what the next or current show is going to be.
Well, we're just so grateful that we have a community that is so supportive.
Yeah.
It's really nice. It's it really is community theater by the community. So
yeah, that's really true.
And
they got that whole school.
I know.
I remember when it was empty. I used to throw rocks at its windows.
But you don't anymore.
No, I don't anymore.
We got to stop doing
when it was
that.
Central School.
Yeah.
That's all.
All right. Well, we'll let you get to your meeting.
You gotta find
okay.
Good luck with this week's run.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate your time.
Thanks for doing it, Dylan. And thank you, dear viewer, for watching this edition of Missoula Live. So, February 5th, are you with me?
I am, because I leave the next day for Napa.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yes.
So our next show will renew this show in 2 weeks' time. If something that you've seen on the show today has already happened, hopefully there's enough information. We've shown you the website or 728 Play for the MCT that you can kind of get involved with these organizations if something struck your fancy. If you know of a group or an organization you'd like to see on our show here at Missoula Live, the number is 542-6228, or you can write to it MCAT at MCAT.org. So for MCAT, I'm Joel Baird.
And I'm Kim Anderson.
We'll see you next time. Hi everyone, I'm Joel Baird, General Manager of Missoula Community Access Television. We're here at a Carousel for Missoula. And we're here with Jess Coulter, Director of Operations. Jess, thanks so much for taking the time.
Absolutely, thanks for visiting.
Oh, it's great to be here. This is such a wonderful fixture in Missoula. Could you tell people a little bit about its history, its origins, how it came to be built?
Absolutely. So the Carousel opened in 1995 after about 7 years of volunteer work to get it all together. It was the first fully hand-carved carousel built since the Great Depression and was built entirely by volunteers here in Missoula.
It's like, who had the idea for it? Someone that saw one in another town?
Yeah, absolutely. So Chuck Cappridge was riding the carousel in Spokane with his wife and saw that they had this beautiful carousel and the horses were hand-carved, and he decided that he wanted one for his living room. And so he called a carousel historian named Fred Freed and said, "Fred, how can I get a carousel horse for my living room?" And Fred said, "It's vultures like you who are causing the demise of the American carousel. You want a carousel horse? Carve it yourself." And he hung up the phone.
Oh my gosh, so he was inspired. He just wanted not an entire carousel in his living room, but one horse.
Yes, he just wanted one horse, and he decided, okay, I will carve one, and his wife gave him a set of carving tools for Christmas, and he says he bludgeoned our first pony out of the wood because no one told him he needed to sharpen his tools. So Zonta was our very first pony. She's one of our smaller ponies and rides on the inside. After that, Chuck carved 3 more ponies, and then he put all those ponies in his truck and drove them to City Hall, and he spoke in front of City Council. Of course, there was nothing here before, and they gave us their blessing to create the carousel, and then they also suggested that Chuck probably wasn't going to be able to do it alone, and they asked, they said, would you consider having some volunteers? And Chuck put out a list and said, if you'll carve for our carousel, I'll teach you how to do it. And in 2 hours, the list was full, and we had a waiting list just as long of people people really interested in making this project come to life for Missoula. We actually had a design contest for architects when we were building the carousel. We said, what do you think it should look like?
Yeah.
And this was based on a design by Jay Kirby, who is a local architect, and he wanted the carousel to look like a jewelry box, where when we roll these doors up, it looked like the horses were the jewels on display in the jewelry
That
box.
really makes sense. It kind of does look that way.
Yeah.
So these doors allow the carousel to operate all year round. When the building first opened, the jewel box, this structure didn't exist, did it?
No, we actually were not originally designed as a year-round structure. We thought we would be seasonal. And so as we've grown and been here year-round, there have been a couple needs that haven't been met with that space, especially room for our carvers to work and also a space to tell our story. And so a couple years ago, we raised the funds to do this expansion, which created a workshop area for our carvers and also created a museum space where people can hear the story when we're not around to tell it. So this is one of the spaces that our carvers work. So we have a group of people we call the pony keepers who continue to carve. We have as many animals as we need for our carousel, but one of our horses was given to us by a group of carvers in Canada when we were first starting. And so we continue to create animals for other carousels that are being built on our model, so by volunteers, and we'll send them around the country. And then also our pony keepers work on other projects for auctions, or you can commission a piece to be done. So our band organ is the largest band organ in continuous use in the United States, and it plays year-round, and it has little tiny tubes and big ones, and creates some great music. And we were able to offer some of those songs for adoption when we were opening. That's one of the ways we raised money. We are open year-round except for those 12 days in January. Kids rides are 75 cents each, adults are $2.25, seniors are 75 cents, and we have rides all day long. If you're the only person in the building, we'll still give you a ride. And then we are open from 11 to 5:30 in the winter, and at least 11 to 7 in the summer, although we're often open longer hours. Sometimes we'll close, though, at that 7 o'clock hour to run a private party for someone. So we have people who host their holiday parties or their birthday parties, lots of special events here. We even have weddings sometimes.
Oh, no
which
kidding.
we really enjoy, yeah. So one of the ways that we raised the money to make our carousel was that we allowed families or businesses to adopt a pony, which meant that they got to tell us what they wanted it to look like. And so each of our ponies has a unique personality and unique characteristics that show about that family or about that organization that adopted it. We have 4 very special ponies that are called our penny ponies, and the penny ponies were actually adopted by the children of Missoula. So we went around and we put milk jugs in all the classrooms in Missoula, and we said, bring us your pennies. And we were hoping that we would have enough to adopt 1 pony. At the end, we had over 1 million pennies, which was enough to adopt 4 ponies. And those ponies have pennies in their trappings, and they say that they belong to the school children in Missoula.
Oh, that's so
and the
sweet.
4 classes that raised the most money then got to design those horses. So this is Silver. This is my family's horse. It looks like a horse my dad had growing up. He grew up on a ranch outside of Great Falls. And it has 3 J's on the saddle from Jess, Jason, and Jamie. That's me and my brothers. And then the carvers lately have added a P and an E for my sons.
Oh, very nice.
It also has a seashell on it, and that actually is not important to my family at all, but one of the things that we did is we allowed our volunteers to choose elements to add to our ponies or our mirror frames that they could come and say, that was me, I put that there. So that's for
really
one of our
cool.
volunteers. This is our museum space. It's still a work in progress, but it kind of tells the story of the carousel, tells about Chuck's beginning and how our volunteers work together to create this great space.
Okay, now we're in the gift shop part of the carousel. And Jess, what items could people expect to see here in the gift shop?
We have a lot of toys and just things that appeal to kids. We also, though, have a lot of carousel-specific items and items specific to our carousel. So we have a history book, we have a DVD about the carousel, and we have stickers and pencils and things that are specific to our carousel. Postcards with all of our horses.
Great.
Things like that.
Well, Jess, thanks so much for the tour. One of the items you could buy in the Carousel gift shop is a DVD history, right, of the making of the Carousel.
Yes, we made a DVD with MCAT a number of years ago that really has a lot of interviews, really interesting information from some of the volunteers who were part of its creation. So really a gem to have.
Well, Jess, thank you so much for taking the time to show us the Carousel facility, and we hope that you have great visitors over the holiday season.
Thank you so much.
You know it, and thank you guys for watching this edition of Out and About in Missoula. For MCAT, I'm Joel Baird. We'll see you the next time.
Well, I'm Mike Steinberg. I'm the executive director of the Roxy Theater.
Yeah, thanks for having us over to your place.
Absolutely. Thanks for stopping by.
So where are we?
So
I feel like we're in a roadside attraction.
Yeah. So the Peas Farm, where we're standing right now, is a partnership between the nonprofit Garden City Harvest and the Environmental Studies program at the University of Montana.
The Roxy is a nonprofit movie theater here in Missoula. We run the International Wildlife Film Festival, which is an annual event. It happens in April. We also host the Montana Film Fest, which is coming up in October.
This room is open to anyone in the community anytime. They can come and grab something out of here. There's no fee, no charge. And then we also ourselves utilize this space to offer about 50 free art projects for the community throughout the years.